I am so excited to share this testimony because it is the most recent that I have that's been going on with life in the past 3 to 2 months, and I'm just so excited to share this one. So let me get started. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Life with Janos. We are blessed. We know you are too. My name is Angie, if you're new to the channel, and if not, hi guys. I am so excited to share this testimony because it is the most recent that I have that's been going on with life in the past 3 to 2 months, and I'm just so excited to share this one. So let me get started. This is part 3 to the Trust God series, and as you can see by the title, it is about career. So y'all, I just want to say that I am really excited. I know. If I'm like, girl, spit it out. But I'm so excited. So, when I got pregnant, I was still working full-time job as a finance manager at a dealership. And of course, with that is extremely long hours. And a lot of mental capacity as a finance manager. Your responsibility is like the whole story. You have so much to worry about, and it's like one of the most important jobs at a dealership. So as far as stress levels, it is pretty high up there in the stress level podium of jobs, just because you have so much responsibility as a finance manager for a dealership. So I was doing that, found out that I am having my little chicken nugget. We're having our baby girl. So I was doing that, and as a finance manager, you work long hours because without a finance manager, you can't do anything in a dealership. Nobody buys a car. So we're there from open to close, So with that, I thought I was Superwoman. I'm like, I can do this. What? Never being pregnant, being very naive about it. Like, I can do this, So, first couple months, 3 months, 4 months, perfect, fine. I felt extremely tired in the beginning of my pregnancy, of course. As you guys know, if you haven't watched the Pregnancy Chronicles, okay, go back, okay? But just feeling extremely tired was the first part of my pregnancy, the first trimester, and I was still working my finance job, my full-time job. So after a while, it got to a point where I was super, super exhausted. My level of stress had went through the roof. And just because of career-wise, but then I started to think, okay, like this is probably not healthy for the baby because I have so much stress levels, and all stress is not like terrible stress, it's just stress that you get from work or, other things in life. But my stress was from work, and then on top of that, literally being pregnant and always being tired in the first trimester, it was just rough. And I pushed through it every single day, still had a smile on my face, still being positive, being grateful, but it was hard. It was really hard the first trimester with my job. So I pushed it out for as long as I can. Long story short, I'm trying to give you guys a backstory. So I pushed it out for as long as I could. Let's see. So about 5 months, which is quite a long time to be pregnant and doing that job. So then I had, let me make sure, because I want to make sure. Of course, I'm telling Joseph, like, I'm getting really tired, and he's telling me, like, you're super tired, work is stressing you out, maybe you need to do something else, like maybe you need to take a break. And I'm thinking to myself, of course, being me, I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds good, it sounds good, but we got bills to pay, I don't want to be at home, like, just doing nothing. So fast forward, Joseph's still telling me those things, and it's finally sinking into me, it's finally sinking into my head, like, okay, what if this harms the baby? Because I am going through way too much stress, going to the doctors. Joseph's up there snitching to the doctor. He's like, she's not eating like she's supposed to be eating, this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And the doctor is, getting on to me, like, you have to eat 3 meals, you have to eat snacks in between. And with that type of job, it's almost impossible. You eat when you can, because it's always a deal, it's always something coming, it's always a customer's issue, it's always a warranty, it's always something. So with that type of job, you don't have time to be eating 3 meals and snacks in between. Like, you gotta go, So I think it was after that last doctor's appointment, and I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is getting to be really worrisome, like, what if something does happen? So with that being said, of course, I took the biggest leap of faith, of course, prayed on it first, and then it wasn't even like something new for me, because I had done it before, just leaving a job without having a job. And let me tell you, child, if you would have told me like 2-3 years ago that I would be leaving a job without having a job, like no backup plan or nothing, I would have looked at you like you was crazy, like downright crazy. Like, no ma'am, Pam, that is not me. Because I have always been a person to have a backup plan. Always. I've always had a backup plan. What if it wasn't this, then I had this. If it wasn't this, then I had this. So if you would have told me that a long time ago, I'd be like, girl, boy, okay, whatever. But it happened, and that's just the test of God. And growing your relationship with him, learning to trust him fully. So like I said, it wasn't my first time doing it, but this time it was a little different because I'm a new mom. I'm carrying a baby, so a lot more responsibility sinks down in my head. Like, how are you just gonna get up and leave this job and you're pregnant? Like, that doesn't even make sense. What about things you need to save for the baby? What about insurance? Like, why would you do that? All those things going through my head. So I prayed on it, and of course I listen to God always, 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 always. Even though if it's not what I want to hear, I listen to him because he's the ruler of my life, So I told my bosses, I'm gonna go ahead and leave. I can't, it's too much stress right now. And I made a decision and I left. That was it. I left my job. And I didn't feel worried after I did it. In the beginning, the devil comes in and talks to you. He tries to, tell you all these things, tell you all these negative lies, because that's his job. That's what he's put on earth to do. And, in the beginning, all those things were, like I said, all those thoughts were coming to my head. Like, how are you gonna leave? You guys have bills, you know, you have a baby coming, you need insurance. Why would you just get up and leave? That doesn't make no sense. And you know, that's fear, and fear comes from the devil. Anytime we feel fear or have fear, just know it is from the devil, because you're about to do something that God has planned for your life. You're about to do something great. You're about to do something that gets you closer to your purpose. So of course, fear is the number one attack that we have as humans, but also it's something that we can absolutely control. You know, we can overcome it. So I left my job, and I have been out of work for 2 months, guys. When I say 2 months, 2 long months, okay? So I will tell you guys just like, you know, a little ups and downs along the way. So in the beginning, I was thankful. You know, I was very, very happy because I fully trusted God, and I took that leap of faith and did not look back. You know, I just did not look back, because keep in mind, I didn't have to. Yes, it was very stressful. Yes, you know, it was very hard being pregnant and doing that job. At the end of the day, if I wanted to, I could have pushed through it and stuck it out and let fear and let material things like money and, you know, insurance and stuff like that hold me back. I could have and been like, you know what, this is all I have. I have nothing else. But that's not of God. That's not of God. God provides everything that we need all the time. Whenever we ask, He's always there. He's always a provider for us. So if we truly believe in that, we can't have those thoughts and let things of this world hold our minds captive, as if we can't go out and do something and have faith, you know, fully trust Him. You can't have half faith. You know, you can't say, okay, God, you know, I trust you. I'm going to start looking for another job. Meanwhile, I'm struggling and I have problems with this job that I have, but let me get a backup plan first. No, either you go all in or not at all. So I did, and in the beginning, I felt happy. I was just like, oh yes, I get a break. You know, I get to enjoy my pregnancy, be home, do amazing things with the family, spend family time, you know, with Joseph, with the kids. I got to pick them up from school, take them to school, you know, have dinner ready when Joseph got home, like all those things that, you know, you enjoy doing as a woman of the household, as a mom, that I have loved. I got to do those things. And of course, then comes human nature, right? So of course comes in, like our mind tells us like, oh my goodness, girl, what did you just do? You cannot be home like this. You need to find a job. Like, this is fairy tale life. You need to find a job, and you need to find a job soon. I got to that point where I was like, okay, trying my best, praying so hard for help from God not to allow me to try to control the situation. Because yes, I had made the decision, but again, human nature comes in, and I'm like, I need to find a job. Like, girl, what? Okay, like now you got your little break, you know, it's been a couple weeks, you got to find a job. Instead of praying and asking God, Lord, whatever you want to do with this time, please allow it to happen. Whatever you want me to do in this time, let me know. I am here. I want to do it. It's on your time that I will find the right job and find the right position. Whatever it is, you know. But instead, you know, my anxiety kicks in. I'm like, I haven't been home this long. I don't know what to do with my life. I'm cleaning the house every day, all day. Just finding stuff to do to keep myself busy, you know, from the fact that I'm home. I am unemployed. I do not have a job. And for me, that is hard because I have worked since I was 18 years old. So I'm just like looking around, trying not to lose my mind, child, okay? But so after going through that stage, it was hard. It was hard. It's like a battle, it's like a battle. And that's transparency. That's a full honesty, because, some people can tell you, oh, it was like so perfect. No, it's not. It's hard because you battle yourself, and you have to keep reminding yourself to trust in God. You have to keep reminding yourself, why did you do it in the first place? Why did you take that huge leap of faith in the first place if all you're going to do is complain and, worry? Why? And I had to keep telling myself that, I'm reminding myself that. So then we have a prayer room in our home, and I think it was one day I woke up, I always pray in the morning. Even if it's a quick prayer, I just say a quick prayer in the morning, for me, my kids, Joseph, everybody. We just pray in the morning. But one day I prayed it, and I had this like revelation, like something was speaking to me, like, go in the prayer room and spend some time with God. Like, don't just pray, don't ask for things, just go in there, spend some time with him, start, actually investing time in him, and don't worry about the outcome, just do it. So I started doing it. I started going in the prayer room every morning, praying first, and then that's when I came across Dr. Miles Monroe, who is, rest his soul, an amazing pastor, preacher, motivational speaker. He's just an amazing person. If you have not heard of him, you have to look him up, Dr. Miles Monroe. Anyway, so I started to watch a sermon every morning, pray, spend time in the prayer room every morning, and my faith in God started growing extremely fast. I started to learn and get new revelations, light bulbs everywhere, all over. Every day I'm learning something new, and realizing that, this time that God sat me down was just for me to get closer to him. Now looking back at it, we're now 2 months. Of course, during it, again, I'm just like going back and forth. There's a battle, there was literally one day I got up and I'm like, Lord, I love you, I trust you, but what am I gonna do? Like, this is a month now. I got on Indeed, child, uploaded my whole resume and everything, and I sent like 20, 30 applications out. I sent them everywhere. I sent it everywhere. And then it's crazy because another testimony to this is the fact that I have not, in my whole career of working, applied for something by God's grace and not gotten the job if I got an interview. Every single time I got an interview, or every single time I got a phone call or something, I got the job. God's favor over my life, So when I started getting the no's from applications and jobs, I was like, what is happening? I was like, okay, I'm just gonna trust you, God. I know there's a reason they're saying no, but it was a shock to me, because I'm like, wow, I've worked so hard and I've never been told like no. When I work hard and I go to an interview and I get the job, in my career, I've got promoted and everything. So just a testament to God's favor over my life. But it was that time where I was like, yeah, these people are telling me no, and of course I'm like, why, and not necessarily questioning God, but questioning like why they're telling me no, and not realizing that every no that God has for you, because there's a bigger yes. Forgetting that, we look back and we see things and we realize that it was God helping us. It was God saving us. Like, no, Angie, that is not what I want you to do. You need to stop forcing it and sit down, But in the moment, you're like, what is this? So then, I started looking I sent out a bunch of applications. I got no's, I got some yeses, never called back. So I was just like, okay, all right, Lord, I got it now. I got it. I'm just going to leave it alone. I wipe my hands with it. I see you don't want me to have no parts in this, which I shouldn't have tried in the first place, because why did I take that huge leap of faith, So I had my bump in the road after that 1 month. I'm like, it's been a month now child, you still ain't got no job. What is happening? But after that, I washed my hands of it, and I continue to just focus on him, continue to be in the moment, continue to appreciate that I have such an amazing partner like Joseph, who is very resourceful, who's very work hard, who's very determined, and he's a great provider. To have that, I was just like, I need to be grateful for the fact that I can have this time to sit down. A lot of people don't even have that support from their spouse. So I started to realize things, and I got closer and closer to God, and it's just been the best journey now. Like, looking back at it, like, I thank God so much, because sometimes he has to do the extreme, and even though, yes, it was me that took the leap of faith, he had to place everything is him, the stress level of the job, allowed me to go through before, and realizing that I can do that again. I don't have to have a backup plan. I can leave this job and figure out whatever God has next for me. He puts everything into place, and I realized that this break has been because he needed to sit me down and get me closer to him. I was, straying away, not necessarily like in a lack of relationship with him, but he wanted me to be closer to him, because whatever his plan is for me, it's needed. It was necessary. This break was necessary. So with that, I am just grateful now. Super happy. And I'll just give you guys a quick little backstory of how it happened. But I have a friend that works for the state, and obviously, I had made a decision to leave the car business. That's another thing as well. Like, once I left my job, I was like, okay, I'm leaving the car business. I don't want to, do the car business anymore. I don't believe that it's for me now. I don't believe that this is what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life. It has carried me since I was 18, and it has changed my life. I'm grateful for it. But now I see value in other things like family time. I don't see the value in money as much. I don't value it as much. I value family time. I value moments. I value having time with God. So I, discussed it with Joseph, and I told him, like, I don't want to do the car business anymore. I'm done with the long hours. I'm done with the hustle and bustle. I see value in something else now. So I had made that decision, and I had one of my friends work for the state of Texas, and, I reached out to her, and I was like, hey, because I have HR experience thanks to the military. So I was like, hey, do you know anything with the state of Texas that has any HR fields or anything like that I can apply to? And she had actually, long story short, her department was hiring. I went through this whole process with the state of Texas. It's actually very hard. But I ended up getting an interview for her department. And long story short, I didn't get hired for the position. And it was very, very hard, because she helped me study. We went through interviews, like mock interviews. She helped me a great deal. I'm so grateful for you, girl, Melissa, girl. But she helped me a lot going through the process of it. And I got an interview, but I did not get hired. And it felt like the end of the world. It really did, y'all. I can't lie. It felt like the end of the world, because I'm just like, man, I thought this was it. I thought this was it, because I have prayed, Lord, whatever you want, wherever you want me to go, please, just make it known to me. Just make it obvious to me. And it was just like how it happened. I talked to her about it, and she was like, boom, that day, oh yeah, of course, I have a position in my department, that we're hiring for, actually, for that position. So of course I'm thinking like, yes, thank you, Lord. Like, you answer my prayers, So going through the whole process and then not getting hired, it was just like, wow, okay, all right, God. So then it was hard. But the next morning I remember praying like, Lord, that's not for me, and there is a reason. So whatever it is, I'm here, I'm humble, I'm waiting on you. I trust you, God. I'm just waiting on you. So then I had applied to 2 other positions within that sector of the state of Texas for that department, not just hers. So time goes by, and during that time, y'all, child, I had itchy fingers. I wanted to get online and apply again to everywhere possible, but I kept praying, I kept waiting, I kept being patient. I just kept focusing on spending more time with God. And the more I did that, the less I was worried about, finding a job. And Joseph was so supportive as well. Like, it's so good to have that type of person that supports you, that's like, hey, chill out, enjoy this time, you're pregnant, it's okay, we got it, So having him also give me that support and remind me that it's okay, was very helpful. On top of praying to God and, actually getting closer to him, which was, what God's purpose was, I believe, for this time that I sat down for 2 months. But so fast forward, I get a call, and it's for the other position, same position, but it was actually for a higher position that I had applied for than the one that I originally applied for with my friend. So I get a call, and they're like, we want to interview you. And I do the interview. I think the interview goes extremely well. And then, you ask, so when should I hear back? And the guy's like, yeah, well, this is an open position. We don't have a closing date. We are going to continue to screen applicants until we find the best fit for the job. And of course I'm like, because anytime it's like that, you could be waiting months, months and months. But I'm like, okay. So then a week goes by. I think, it was a week that went by. And then I get a call for that job to do a second interview. So I'm like, okay, thank you, Lord. I'm like, all right, now I think I'm in there, So I do the second interview, and, they're like, okay, thank you so much. And keep in mind, you guys, that I am now 6 months pregnant, okay? 5 and 6 months pregnant during this time. So the second interview was in person, and this is for the state job, okay? But this is for the position higher than the original position that I applied for with my friend. Just giving you guys, a reminder. So the second one was for an in-person interview. And now, mind you, I'm like, okay, I got this big belly, and we all know that there's no, secret that when you're pregnant, you are discriminated against in some companies because you're pregnant. Most people don't want to hire a pregnant person because they foresee you're going to have to take time off and this, that, and the third. So sometimes it's like, it's not a good thing. And I've never been through that before until now, obviously. So I had talked to my friend, and I'm like, girl, what do you think I should do? I had this in-person interview coming up, and I'm like, should I hide my belly? Do I wear a big dress? Like, what am I supposed to do? Do you think they're gonna hire me pregnant? And of course she's like, girl, just, hide the belly. Like, just hide it, because, you don't want them to discriminate against you. And then once they give you an offer letter, or once they, give you the job, then, go ahead and let them know. So then I was like, okay. And then I think I had talked to my mom, and of course Joseph too. And Joseph was like, you do what your heart tells you to do, of course. So I'm like, now I have no idea, because I really need to get this job. I'm like, I'm going to hide the belly. And then I talked to my mom, and I can't remember if my mom, I think she was just saying, like, pray about it, and just be happy that you get the job, or something like that, if I can try to remember. But then it was one morning when I went out of the prayer room, and I was like, you know what? God is so great that if it's meant for me to have this job, I will, pregnant or not, And it hit me like a ton of bricks. The Holy Spirit just convicted me. Like, you don't need to lie about your pregnancy. You don't need to hide it, because God is a God of miracles. He is a God of everything. He can move mountains. He can do things that we can't even imagine. And you're sitting here limiting him because you're bringing a bundle of joy into the world, and you want to hide it for a job. That's how I felt. The Holy Spirit was talking to me, like he was checking me, So I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna hide it. You know, I talked to my friend, I told her, I was like, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm gonna go in there, and if it happens, it's meant to be. And if it doesn't, oh well, you know? So I go to the interview. Interview goes great. Second interview. Now keep in mind, I'm wearing my office dresses that I used to before I was pregnant because they're really stretchy, but my belly is big. You can see it. If you look at me, you can see that I'm pregnant. So I go in there, and you know, the interview goes good. At the end of the interview, you know, they're walking me out, and I see I got interviewed by the chief person of the department, and then the person that is like the divisional, who is going to be above me. So a really high person, and then the person that's above me. So I got interviewed by those two for the second interview, and they were both just staring at me, just looking, you know, because obviously you can't ask personal questions. If you are an HR person, you know, you can't ask personal questions during an interview. So they were looking at me, just looking, and you know, I ended up leaving, and that was it. So I called Joseph, of course. I'm like, I think the interview went well. He's like, well, did you tell them that you're pregnant, I think? And I was like, no, I didn't tell them, but obviously they can see I'm huge, I'm pregnant. And they were just staring at me. You know, I remember telling him, they were just staring at me. So I think the interview goes well. And then I don't hear anything for a week. A week goes by, and I don't hear anything. And during that week, I was like trying my best to calm my anxiety. Like, you know, okay, this is the second interview. You know, it's okay if it doesn't go forward after this. Like, yes, you thought so, but it's okay if not. Because remember, this is God's plan, not your plan. So I had to keep reminding myself that every single day, guys. But it also allowed me to be grateful for the faith that I have, because had I not had that faith, I probably would have been going nuts. You know, I probably would have been going crazy. But having that trust in God and having that faith in Him, and knowing that whatever His plan is always best. You know, it's always best. So remembering that, a week goes by and nada. So I was just like, man. And then I get a call, and it's from a woman from the department, and she's like, hey, the second interview went well, and we want to do a reference check now. So of course, in my mind, I'm like, okay, you know, like the reference check from my friend telling me is the last part of it before they actually hire you or give you an offer. So I'm like, okay, great, yes. So she's like, okay, we're gonna do some references checks. We'll make sure I have all the right numbers and everything. So I give her all the information she needs. Boom, done. Child, when I say she did not call me back, okay? The lady did not call me back. And we're talking about a reference check. It don't take nothing to call somebody or call people on some pieces of paper and do a reference check, especially after my friend Melissa had told me that it's a really easy reference check once they call the person. And I had already reached out to everybody that I put on my resume and let them know, like, hey, I applied for the state of Texas. You know, they're gonna be calling you. They need to do a detailed reference check. So she did not call me back. So I'm like, okay. And it says Monday through Friday because it's a state job. So I think it was like a Thursday, and it was like that next Wednesday. And I'm like, she still has not called me back. How long does it take to do references? And meanwhile, I call my mom. Of course, I tell Joseph, you know, I tell, you know, my best friend. I tell everybody, I'm like, I'm at the part of a reference check. I'm all excited and everything. And then nothing. So I was like, okay, Lord, what is happening? Like, Lord, please tell me what's happening. But then I remember I was sitting down, I was eating breakfast one morning, and I was like, how many times do we wait on God and it turns out to be amazing? I was like, answer that question, Angie. I was talking to myself, and yes, I was talking to myself, okay? I was like, how many times do you wait on God and it turns out to be way better? So at that point, I was like, okay, I've gotten to this point, But if it's not meant to be because they saw me pregnant at the interview, or, you know, they found another applicant, all these crazy thoughts, you know, I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. It's not meant. It's not meant, Angie. You cannot go backwards now. You know, you have to keep going and trust him and trust that God knows what he's doing. So after that, I was like, okay, whatever. You know, it was a week. It was that following Wednesday. So that week, it was like a lot of, in my mind, a lot of, okay, now what? Like, right? So if this isn't it, Lord, now what? You know, do I get back online and try to apply for something? Do I, you know, sit here and wait? Like, now what? You know, because I'm thinking that this was it. I got so close, y'all. So close. And I'm like, this is it. But then the Holy Spirit just kept telling me to wait. I just kept hearing him say, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. So I waited. Of course, I'm probably stressing Joseph out because I'm just like, ah! But I waited, you know. And then so the lady that I had been speaking to, I recognized her number because it has her number, her first and last name, when she calls. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm waiting for this number. And then, I don't want to skip this part. So then during that week of the references, I actually was going back and forth with myself every day. I can call the lady and just find out if she needs anything, you know, trying to take control again. So I said no. I pushed it off for like a good 3 days, and then I had broke on the day before. I was like, I'm just going to call it, because even Joseph was like, well, why don't you just find out if they need help with the references, or why don't you just call and find out? And I'm like, no, if I'm going to have faith in God, if I'm going to trust him, I'm not going to call, I'm going to wait, right? And then I had broke one day, y'all. That's transparency. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't take this anxiety anymore. It's been almost a week. How long do you need for references? So I end up calling the lady, and she doesn't answer. It goes to voicemail. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm like, I know that's you, because you don't want me to know. You don't want me to know. You want me to be patient. So I was like, oh, okay. Slap. Don't do that again. So I put the phone down. I was like, dang. I was like, okay, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. For real, God, I'm done. So then I get a call from a 1-800 number that I don't recognize. And I'm like, this is probably spam. But then something told me to answer it. You know, the Holy Spirit is always there telling us what to do. So I pick it up. I'm like, hello, this is Angie. And the guy is like, hi, this is so-and-so from State of Texas, Department of Health Services. And I remember in my head, I'm like, please be good news. Please be good news. Please be good news. So then he goes to tell me that first he starts off with, you know, who he's from and all that stuff. And then he's like, we just wanted to follow up with you. We're at the next step, and we wanted to see if you're still interested in the job. Child, I'm on the other hand, in my mind, I'm like, of course, I've been waiting for y'all to call me. You know, I'm going off. But then I'm on the phone, I'm like, yes, sir, I'm still interested in the job. And then he's like, okay, so we would like to give you an offer for the state of Texas. And I am like, over the moon. Over the moon. So then, you know, he's talking to me about everything, and, you know, we go over, you know, the offer, salary, all that stuff. And I hang up. The first person I call is Joseph, of course. And I'm like, so excited, so happy. And then I told him, like, you know, I'm waiting for him to call me back because, you know, we were talking about salary and offer and stuff like that. So of course he calls me back and we finalize it. I accept an offer for the state of Texas. And then as soon as I talked to Joseph, I just ran to our prayer room, and I had a whole prayer and worship session in that room. Okay, y'all would have thought it was a whole church, because I was in there dancing, screaming, praying, shouting, crying, everything. And it was just amazing. So I officially start my career working for the state of Texas in HR May 1st. And I'm just really like grateful, really thankful. And all of it was well worth it. But the main thing is that I'm grateful to God for sitting me down during these 2 months for me to get closer to him and get revelation, because I feel in my heart that I'm getting closer and closer to whatever he wants me to do. You know, whatever he wants, whatever his plan is for me. And I'm just so happy. And this is one of the best testimonies, of course, that I could possibly share with you guys, because I'm living it. I lived through it and I'm doing it right now. So with being pregnant, I got hired, going through the whole process, which it is not easy for the state of Texas. The interviews, the studying, it is a lot, but it was all worth it during this time. So just if you have a career change that you want to do, don't let anything hold you back, guys. Don't let fear hold you back. Take that leap of faith and do it. If it's, starting a business or changing a career path, or, whatever the case may be, pray on it and trust God. Pray on it first, okay? I'm not telling y'all to just go out here and quit your jobs and just do crazy stuff, but pray on it first. But if you truly pray on it and know that it's God telling you, you move, my child, go do it. Trust him. Take that leap of faith. Don't have fear, because fear is nothing but holding you back. Fear just holds you back from whatever God has for your life. So that is my testimony. And that has what's been happening over these last 2 months. All glory and praises to my Lord and Savior. I am just so excited, guys, because this is the career, if God's willing, that I will retire in. Another short, small detail is that my friend Melissa, who works there and helped me with the whole process in the beginning, was telling me, after I told her, she was like, wow, that's a lot. Like, that's really good, the salary that they offered you, because most people who start in your position don't make that much. You're making well over that. So even that, when I tell you God blesses you 10 times more than you can imagine. And I think back to those times when I was on Indeed just applying for all these jobs. I didn't even care. I wasn't worried about making this or making that. I was like, hey, as long as I can make this, the minimum to support my household, child, I'm okay. I don't care anymore. But that wasn't what God had planned for me. He wanted to bless me and my family. And I am just so grateful for this journey. I'm so grateful for these 2 months. And I'm so grateful for just being able to fully trust him, y'all. Fully trust him. Because when you do, oh my goodness, I can't even say anymore. I can't even explain it. So I will end this vlog there, because I feel myself getting emotional, of course. But it's just because of happiness, just because of gratefulness. So moral to this is, whatever you want to do, give it to God, trust him. We are human. We're going to have those bumps in the road, but keep reminding yourself, keep convicting yourself that God's got it. and trust him and that he can do it. He has a better plan than what you can even think of. And watch him work in your life. I am so excited to be leaving the car business. I'm so grateful to the car business for changing my life. But now I'm going to the next step where, I can retire with the state of Texas, and I will have a lot of family time. So I'm just very thankful, and I hope you guys are inspired as always by this video. I hope you guys are encouraged, and trust me when I say, give it a try. Give it a try. I'm a living testimony. This is no, fakeness, exaggeration. This is what's happening in my life. So please just give it a try. Trust him and let him work in your life. Thank you guys. I love you guys, and I will see you guys soon.